Oh, thank you, Andrea.
Oh.
Thank you so much. I am Apurva Ramaswamy, and aside from getting to be married to Vivek and being mom of 3 wonderful children, I have the privilege of being a surgeon at the James Cancer Center at Ohio State. I am so lucky to get to do what I do every day. My patients have gone through pretty much one of the scariest things any of us can imagine, and they're just my heroes. But now that we're all getting to know me, another thing about me was it was actually my birthday too last week, Frank. And Vivek, being a wonderful husband, asked me, Apurva, what do you want to do? Do you want a present? Do you want a party? Can I take you to dinner? And I said, no, mostly I just want to hang out with you and the kids. But if there's one thing I really want to do is I want to learn how to shoot a shotgun. So he took me to Blackwing. we had a great time. But first of all, August 13th isn't just my birthday. It's actually also, I always grew up knowing that it was the birthday of Annie Oakley. And I always grew up thinking she was amazing and wanted to learn how to shoot. And second of all, if there's anything I've learned and we've learned over the course of this journey is that we really need more good guys with guns out there. And we are so grateful for all of you, what you do to defend our rights and to defend us in this state. So thank you. So, you know, I am not going to go out there and start defending all of us quite yet after one time, but I was impressed with Vivek, and he actually was quite a good shot over the years. So with that, I wanted to thank you all for everything that you do, and thank you for your support, and welcome your your future governor, and my husband, Vivek Ramaswamy.
Nice job. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to have gotten to know the entire Buckeye Firearms Association leadership. You guys have been staunch, stalwart defenders of our Constitution. You're in this for the same reason that I'm in. Linda, I have to say, I appreciated that introduction. It is, she got the first part right. It's Vivek like cake, but it is also Ramaswamy like Ramaswamy. So that's the only one. That's all I got for you. Remember that one too. I won't make you chant that one. Linda, I was listening to you. You know, it is good to vote 10 times, and I appreciate your willingness to vote early. We don't want you to die, okay? We need you here for a long time to come. But I would say that if you had to pick, it is better to vote and then die than to die and then vote, which also happens sometimes apparently in the country, which is why we're going to pass issue 3, which says you need a photo ID to vote. So just for the record, Linda, we need you here for a long time to come. Okay, thank you. We've talked a lot about the importance of protecting Second Amendment rights here in Ohio. And the truth is there are further lengths to which our state can go. We're not the worst state in this regard. I'm a big believer that in order to improve, you got to always celebrate what's actually right first. You got to know what you got right and celebrate it and be grateful for it in order to know what to fix. So we're not the worst state, right? We're not, you know, the Minnesotas or the New Yorks of the world. But we have some room for improvement. And I think BFA has been a force for good in our state. I want to thank the leadership. You know, we got past the goal line, Senate Bill 273. Rob, you worked with them to do that. Civil liability immunity for safe storage. And then now we go to next, Senate Bill 214. We go to 278, preemption penalties for local governments. There's further ways to go. But I thought we'd take a minute to talk about why it is that we care in the first place. Why is it that we have the Second Amendment in this country? And I say this as a kid of 2 parents. I was raised in Southwest Ohio. I say this as a kid of 2 parents who were not gun owners. We're not particularly a pro-gun family. But as a father of 3 young kids who will be kids of parents who are a pro-gun family, pro-Second Amendment family. The Second Amendment is the one amendment that puts the teeth into all of the other ones. It is what makes the Bill of Rights not just an American dream, but an American reality. Right, we're at war with Iran right now. We have a lot of tensions with countries like China. Interesting that China, Iran, North Korea, these are countries that claim to offer you free speech. They claim to offer you even religious freedom. They claim to offer you freedom from search and seizures. In fact, we have 10 amendments. These countries have like hundreds or thousands of statements of your rights. But of course, you don't enjoy any of those rights in North Korea or China or Iran, not to the fullest, because they're missing the one thing that we do have in the United States that they don't have in their Bill of Rights, and that is the Second Amendment. People forget the Second Amendment, it's not just about our right to enjoy our hobbies, right? It's just not the ability to go out and have a good time, as Apoorva and I did on her birthday. It is about securing the other rights. It is about mutually assured destruction, actually. It's an uncomfortable idea, but it's an idea we got to get comfortable with because that's what this country was built on 250 years ago. The idea that we, the people, create a government that is accountable to us. And when that government overreaches, that we, the people, have the power to hold that government at bay. It is mutually assured destruction. That was the premise built in to our U.S. Constitution. A lot of folks on the left who fight for civil rights and support the freedoms that every American enjoys today, regardless of whether they're black, white, brown, or anything in between, they tend to be the people who believe in what they call so-called gun control measures, so-called assault weapons bans. But even a study of history might cause them to rethink their position. And I've had some success with this in talking to inner city communities of Democrats, reminding them that actually the first anti-gun laws passed in the United States were actually enacted to keep guns out of the hands of black people after the Civil War ended, in the Reconstruction era. That was the origin of the first anti-gun laws in the United States. So much so that one of the most ignominious Supreme Court decisions ever written, the Dred Scott decision, written by Chief Justice Taney, which said that a black person could not be a citizen in the U.S., okay, prior to the Civil War. That the justification for that, given by the Chief Justice of the United States of America, was that that would allow a black person to own a gun, and obviously that's not something that we could allow in this country, and that was the basis for denying blacks citizenship. This was actually the subject of a testy exchange that Don Lemon and I had on air, which was described by the press as the reason why he actually got removed from air. So if one thing came out of my presidential campaign, at least let it be. A few good things came out of that. You know, I didn't end up president, but we accomplished a few things along the way. And I think that it's worth remembering that's why we have the Second Amendment. And that's why we as leaders have a moral duty in this state. Ohio is a representation of the country. Right? What I love about this state is that, you know, as much as we might like states like Florida, you know, you might like them for their beaches. You might like other states for their mountains. It's not the beaches or the mountains that make Ohio great. It is the people of Ohio who make Ohio great. You go to any spot in this state, including where we are sitting in Greater Columbus today. You drop a pin from here to Cincinnati to Cleveland to Appalachia to Toledo. You draw a 250-mile radius around it. You've got a cross-section of the United States of America. It's different than Florida. You go to Florida, you drop a pin in Florida, you draw a circle around that, you got a cross-section of Florida. You go to Texas, you drop a pin in Texas, you put a circle around it, you got a cross-section of Texas. But you go anywhere in Ohio, you drop a spot in a 250-mile radius around it, you have a cross-section of the United States of America. And that's why I think it is so special and so important for our country that we here in Ohio embody and carry the banner of what made this country great the first time around. And I think the thing that makes Ohio and the thing that makes the United States of America special is the values enshrined in that Constitution, the values enshrined in that Declaration of Independence, written 250 years ago, almost to the day, just a month past it. The idea that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among these life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That idea that our rights come to us not from our government but from God, and that it is the job of our government to actually protect those rights. That's the only reason that government exists, is to protect the rights that come to us long before the government existed, and the right to defend ourselves is fundamental to that right, not only from our fellow neighbors, but even from our government itself. That's why we have a Second Amendment. And I think the stakes are, I think, now higher than ever. The Second Amendment was made for times such as these, was made for generations like the one that I live in today. Socialism is back in America with a vengeance. People are surprised by this. And how many people shouldn't be surprised? The real surprise is that we went through at least a 30 to 40 year period where socialism wasn't within the acceptable bounds of American governance. If you go far enough back, this is normal. This is just the way things go. You go from the Russian Revolution, you go to every other country. The limitations on liberty, that's the normal trajectory. Okay, that's just the way things normally go. So after Reagan, we had this unusual period in the United States that actually defied a normal trend in human history. But what we're seeing come back, you shouldn't be surprised when you see what Mamdani in New York, the equivalents now in Colorado, to Minnesota, to Los Angeles, to Michigan, to everywhere in between, now cropping up. That's not a surprise. This is the way things normally go unless we hold the line, unless we say this is where we draw the boundaries, to say no further. This is one of those moments for which the Second Amendment was written. And I believe that this election here in Ohio is the single most important election for governor that we have ever seen in the history of our state. You can turn on cable news and watch socialism hitting places like New York and Minnesota and say, well, gee, isn't that too bad for our country? But if you think for a minute that can't come to our home here in Ohio, I urge you to think again. It absolutely can, but the beauty is that choice is up to us in this election. Okay, we the people create a government that is accountable to us. That is the beauty of our system. So we have no one to complain about other than ourselves. Thomas Jefferson, who signed that Declaration of Independence in 1776 at the age of 33, remarkably, fluent in 5 languages. He was a scholar of all kinds of things. They used to make him a little different in the founding era. He knew he was fluent in 5 languages. He wrote 16,000 letters over the course of his life. I'm not talking about letters of the alphabet. I'm talking about letters with independent ideas and thoughts. He was 33, younger than me. Signed the Declaration of Independence at that time, became the 3rd president of the United States, signed the Lewis and Clark expeditions, signed the Louisiana Purchase. Right? These are the guys, John Adams, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin. You can go on. These guys were just built a little differently. He's the guy, anyway, Jefferson, who admitted Ohio to the Union in 1803, and he is famously said to have warned our country that the government you elect is, in the end, the government that you deserve. It is almost as if he was speaking to us here in Ohio, the state that he admitted to the Union 250 years later in the year 2026. This is the year for which his words are meant. There has never been a bigger contrast between 2 candidates running for governor than in this year. On one hand, as Rob said it, I'm proud to say I will be, and this is not the campaign poll-tested version of what you're supposed to say, but I'll just tell you the truth. I will be proud to be the most conservative governor that the state of Ohio has ever seen. We are a conservative state, and we deserve to finally be governed like one, okay? Linda, you set a bar. We're going to exceed that bar, all right? I tell our friends in Florida we're going to be the top state in the country. They say, don't get carried away, okay? How can Ohio be that state? And I made them 2 promises, Linda. I said, well, the first thing we're going to do is if Florida or Texas is doing something right, we will shamelessly copy it and bring that right here in Ohio, because there's no pride of authorship, right? We will rip your ideas and bring them right here for conservative governance in Ohio. But that's only the first promise I made him. The second promise I made him is that we're going to return the favor, okay? Because 4 years from now, it will be Texas and Florida following Ohio's lead rather than the other way around, all right? So that on one hand is where we can go. The most conservative governor we've seen, the most pro-2A governor, the most pro-gun governor, the most pro-life governor, the most pro-America governor that we have seen in the history of our state. Or on the other hand, we could elect, God forbid, the first socialist governor in the history of our state, the most anti-gun, the most anti-2A governor in the history of our state, the most pro-abortion governor in our state, the most anti-freedom governor in our state. And you don't have to guess, right? These aren't political slogans based on even a statement of her tweets. This is a woman who shut down our county fairs while letting BLM protests run rampant on the streets of Columbus and the streets of Cleveland. So we don't have to guess where we're headed. But in the end, that choice comes down to ours to make. Now, I don't worry about the people in this room. By the way, I want to give recognition to my fellow candidates on the statewide slate, several of them still sitting here. Jay Edwards, we were singing your praises earlier today when you weren't there, so I like to not do it when you're in the room. So I won't let, Jay, you got to be careful, it'll get to his head, but I got a lot of good things to say about this guy. Keith Faber, who's going to be a great attorney general. We got some of the others who are already making their way. I'm glad Frank made it to his date with his wife tonight. He better do that. But Frank LaRose has been a great Secretary of State. He's going to be a great state auditor. Robert Sprague, our Supreme Court justices. We've got a great slate lined up. But this is a year where the left is, I would say it's like a dog that's salivating, okay? They're salivating at Ohio because this is their last chance to turn Ohio back into a purple state. They see some familiar patterns. For those of you who don't think it's possible, I like the optimism, but I want to also give you some reality here. We're going to win this, but it's going to be because you understand this and make it so. The left believes this is their chance to do it. It's Trump's second term, just like in 2006 when Ohio went blue. It was Bush's second term. There's a war in the Middle East. There was a war in the Middle East. It's a midterm cycle. It's a midterm cycle. So they think that 2026 is the new 2006. The flip side is if we keep Ohio red this year, we are a hard red conservative state likely for the remaining second half of the century. Okay, we are a red state with rock solid conservative values for the year to come. So this makes this probably, as a matter of history, in Ohio's trajectory, probably the most important election to solidify who we are as a state. And the thing that decides it is, like I said, with our friends on the statewide ticket, they're disciplined, right? They've been elected many times, so they know what they're supposed to say. They're asking you for your vote. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not worried that this room is going to be voting for the Democrats in any of those races or in ours. So I'm going to take the liberty of making a more ambitious ask of the people in this room. We're asking not only for your vote, we're asking you for you to be there to fight this with us through the finish line, to be soldiers with us on the front lines and get not just the people who are in this room, but the people who are not yet in this room as well. And that requires getting out of our comfort zone. I told you the Second Amendment requires us to get out of our comfort zone. Right? It should make you uncomfortable. If it doesn't, you don't understand what it is. It's about keeping the government at bay for the moments for which it was intended. Well, I'm asking you in this election cycle to get out of your comfort zones in a different way too. To talk to those independent voters, to talk to those Democrats who may have been abandoned by their increasingly socialist party, who are in your families, who are in your neighborhoods, who are in your workplaces, who are in your communities, and to tell them why we're going to be the ones who actually make their lives better. To explain to them why we're going to be the ones who actually defend their liberties as vigorously as we defend our own. To tell them that, yes, though I'm a proud conservative, I'm not here to tell anyone how to live their life, which God to worship, who to marry. I'm here to fight for you. We are here to fight for you, to live a better life and a more free life, whether you vote for us or not. This is the election where we need to explain that to all of the people who are not yet in this room, and that's where we need your help. Linda said it well. When we want you to vote 10 times, we mean it. We're asking you for a commitment to say, you vote once, but bring 9 other people who share our values out to the polls who may not have otherwise come. Because the Democrats, I mean, they're mad as they can be right now. Donald Trump drives them nuts. It's like it's truly like the DSM-11. It's going to be an official psychiatric condition that you can diagnose. And I would say that if we can demonstrate, we can just reasonably cure that. I don't think that should stop them from owning a gun either. Okay, we're going to be fair and balanced here. But it is a psychiatric condition. Okay, they've lost their mind on this one. But that makes them motivated to vote. They say anger drives you to vote. Okay, anger is the greatest motivation to vote. Well, I think there can be potentially a greater motivation even than that. It can be gratitude and love of our country that also motivates us to vote. And I will personally tell you in closing, that is why I am running. I am grateful to this state and to this country for giving me and my family a set of opportunities that would never have been available to a kid like me in any other country on planet Earth. If you had told me when I was in first grade in public schools in Evendale, Ohio, that a kid by the name of Vivek like cake, Ramaswamy like Ramaswamy, would be elected the governor of Ohio, I would have said that the people of Ohio have a pretty good sense of humor. And yet here we are on the doorstep of turning that into reality. And that is what makes this country different than any other country in the history of humankind. Today we're so much more than an idea, but 250 years ago that is all we were. A vision of what this place can be. 13 years later, enshrined in our Constitution, the Bill of Rights that turned that vision into a reality. 5 years later, 235 years ago, you said it, Jay, when we ratified that Bill of Rights and that Second Amendment. That's what makes this country the greatest nation known to the history of humankind. And on this 250th anniversary, we're at a fork in the road for the future of Ohio, for the future of our country. And if the great men who set this whole story into motion, George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, the men of whom we spoke, could make the sacrifice that they made in 1776, the least we can do is to show up and continue to vote to affirm those values for the next 250 years yet to come. So I'm making that ask of you, but I don't think it's too much to ask. And I will say that if you all do your part across this state, from Darke County to Lucas County to Appalachia to Toledo, we have represented in this room here today. If you all do your part over the next 75 days, I swear to you that my family and I, we will do our part. We will stop at nothing. We will run through whatever walls are required. We will visit all 88 counties as many times as is required. We will make whatever financial investment is required. We will stop at nothing to make sure that Ohio's best days, and honest to God, through Ohio, America's best days are actually still ahead of us, so that 250 years from now, we are still celebrating that Declaration and that Bill of Rights that made us who we are. Thank you for coming out today, guys. Thank you, BFA. God bless you and your families. May God bless our great state of Ohio. And in 75 days, let's go win this thing so we can be the state that the rest of the country looks up to. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, come on up. Come on up here, buddy. We're drawing this. Yeah. I like this thing. Thank you, man. This is the one we're auctioning off.
One thing I forgot to tell you the whole time I'm announcing, the $6, Vivek donated this out of his own pocket so we could have this firearm.
Let's draw it.
Money on it?
All right. Let's pick a winner. Who we got tonight, all right? Everybody ready? 512-115. Oh, we got our man.
Come on up.
It's good, man. We got a winner. Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations, my man.
Thank you very much, sir.
Come on up here. Get on up here. We'll get on up. Let's get a picture. Yeah, let's get a picture.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
Good to
sir.
see you, man. What's your name?
Newton.
Give Newton a round of applause, guys. Newton's the new owner of this thing. Let's do this. Gonna hold it up. Thank you. Now it's yours. Enjoy
luck,
it.
sir.
Thank you, man. We'll take that, all right? Thank you very much.
Certainly.
Put it to some good use, all right?
Yes, sir.
I'm excited for you. Thank you.
Well, that's a great way
Thank
to
you.
end the
Thank you.
evening.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Firearms.